Hi, and welcome to the Boat Princess podcast. My name is Nikki Vo, and I'm your host. I'm a boat owner, a marinas owner, an international conference presenter, and a huge advocate for boating. I'm sharing the stories from every nook of the boating industry with the intention of encouraging more women to join me and for more women to get behind the helm too. I want to share the experience and opportunities of boating, of the boating industry, and I want you to join me as I bring the conversations and answer all the questions you've had. Boating is not just for the glamorous and rich and famous. It's full of beautiful and interesting people making the most of our natural environment and getting out there enjoying the waterways. So let's let off the lines, take over the helm, and escape to the world of boating. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Boat Princess podcast. I am here in another part of the world at IBEX in the US, in Florida, and there are always some amazing people to interview at this location. So I have found in the VIP event last night, which was where we all should be, right?
Exactly.
The lovely Nancy Cueroni, who is the former executive director of NMDA, which is the National Marine Distributors Association.
Yes.
So, how does it feel?
To be retired?
Yeah.
I'll let you know in a couple of weeks. October 1 was the end of my day-to-day responsibility. So I'm here this week at IBEX with Emily Saving, our new executive director, so I can introduce her to 26 years worth of friendships and relationships that I've built during my time at NMDA.
I can imagine that's a big lot of relationships.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so, although they're all retiring as well.
Yeah, that is a bit of a problem, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
So we're going to talk to her later so that everybody knows who she is at the end of this interview. But I wanted to step back into you because I know you have an incredible history of a career that spanned a lot of different things, and sometimes that sets us up really well for what we end up doing at the ultimate end of our career.
So it's interesting, you should talk, excuse me, that you would ask about that. My original first job out of college was as a buyer in New York City for a department store.
Okay.
And I did that for a number of years. And then
Did you do some education specifically for that?
my degree is in communications.
Okay.
So specifically writing. So it had nothing to do with what I did. I went to Notre Dame when it just went co-ed. So there were 600 women and 4,000 men. And you'd think it was great, except there was a 150-year-old tradition of men who didn't want women at Notre Dame. So you would often be the only woman in your class and the only one who was doing certain things, which had a certain stigma attached to it. Senior year, Notre Dame had a great job placement bureau. All of my friends were predominantly men. They all had jobs by October. I wasn't worried about finding a job. They started signing me up for interviews. So they signed me up for all these interviews. One of them happened to be with a company in New York City who was looking for buyers, and so that's how I got my first job.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that's quite an era, isn't it, that we go back to, that I guess women who go to university now, they don't have to face that,
Nope.
that what you've been through. Because you've been through it, you've set that precedent, which now women...
It's interesting to think about that. I never thought about it. It was just my life. But Title IX in the United States, which was making equality in sports for men and women. If they granted scholarships for men, they had to do the same for women. So Title IX is just celebrated 50 years. And Notre Dame, like a lot of other universities, honored those of us who did sports before they were scholarship-type sports. So that was the first time I really became aware that what we did was unusual. Because it's just what you knew.
Yeah.
You'd be the only woman in your weightlifting class. You'd be the only woman in your philosophy class. You'd be and sometimes it was good if the professor thought coeducation was a good idea. If they didn't think it was a good idea, it was a challenge.
Yeah.
But it just was what it was, and you didn't think about it.
Yeah.
So coming into the marine industry, I started in 1989 with the State Trade Association, and that was fine. And then in 1999, I started with NMDA.
Okay.
And there were not a lot of women, like we were discussing last night. Miami Boat Show early on, there were half a dozen or 10 of us that would get together for dinner at any industry event because we were basically the women in the industry.
Yeah.
So it's so exciting to look around the industry breakfast this morning and see, I would say if it's not a third or more women in the audience, it's exciting to see.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Yeah. So before we get into your marine industry career, I know you did some really interesting things before that. Can you share that with our audience?
Okay, so I think you might be referring to the contract we had with the New Zealand government in 1988. A girlfriend and I, her family had been in the fruit import business in Ohio, and she had the opportunity to get a contract with the New Zealand government brokering kiwi fruit. And in 1988, there was only one person bringing kiwi fruit in the U.S., and that was Frida of California, and they were called Chinese gooseberries. They didn't sell well as a Chinese gooseberry.
I get that.
Yep. So when the New Zealanders decided they were going to bring it in, the logical name became kiwis. And so she sold them, and I trucked them. So I learned a lot about the trucking industry. I learned about how many pallets fit on certain size refrigerated trucks. I learned that bananas can't travel with kiwis, but mushrooms can. So
Why is that?
it has to do with the gases they put off. They tend to ripen each other too quickly if they're with
because bananas
competing.
ripen avocados as well, don't they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
so,
my goodness.
Yeah. But then the New Zealand Apple Board the next year was a little unhappy that Americans were selling their kiwi fruit, so we did not get the contract renewed. And that's when I went into association work.
There you go. So if that contract had been renewed, the boating industry may potentially have never known you.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you
So it
go.
all works out.
Yeah, absolutely. So the National Marine Distributors Association, you have gone for a position with them.
Mm-hmm.
Did you start? How did you start at one level and move up all the way up, or how did you?
I started with the State Trade Association, and NMDA, the Marine Manufacturers Association, has an event every year called ABC, American Boating Congress. And so we were in D.C., and a couple of my board members from the State Trade Association were there. I took them on Hill visits where we went to see senators and representatives. And then the executive director of NMDA was retiring, told the board she was retiring, and one of the gentlemen who had taken on my tours to the Capitol said, I think you should apply for the job. So I said, I'm only a director of member services. I've not done anything nationally. He goes, you can do it.
That's a very female response.
Yep, exactly. So I sent off my resume and then didn't hear.
Yeah.
I was at a fundraiser for a senator, and another gentleman came up to me and he said, you need to apply for this job. And I'm like, oh, I did 3 months ago. And he said the head of the search committee had a heart attack. They paused everything, but they didn't notify anybody. And he said, so they've just reopened it again. So I applied and they hired me.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So they hired me in May for a job to start in January.
Wow.
So I had to keep it secret because
Yeah.
I was in the industry, but in
Yeah.
a different spot. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
And so you've gone into that role as an executive director, straight into it.
Yep.
Okay. Obviously, somebody's been there before doing that role. The systems are in place. All those sorts of things are going on for you. But was it like that, or did you have to really learn from the ground?
So the woman who had the job before me, Betty Kelly, started with the association in 1964. I started in 1999. She was the only executive director before me. So I'm the second executive director. Emily will be the third. There were no computers. She retired because she told the board she was too old to learn how to use a computer. So one of the first things I tried to do was to get our domain. So we wanted NMDA. And I discovered that it's true, there is an association for everything, because the National Miniature Donkey Association actually has NMDA, and they still have the domain. The National Metal Door Association also had it. So we became NMDAonline.com so that at least people could find us. But yeah, I sent a fax because we all didn't have computers then.
Yeah.
I sent a fax and said the asses beat us to it, that we could not get.
Oh, I love that.
It's true. It's true.
The donkeys beat us to it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
I love
and not
it.
just donkeys, but miniature donkeys.
Yeah. Oh, miniature donkeys.
National Miniature Donkeys. So anyways, I actually was charged with putting the systems in place. Betty had done a great job of getting the membership,
Yep.
But then we had to put the systems in place. And it's probably one of my strengths is setting up systems and processes. So it's been a joy for me. The friendships that I've made through the years have just been pretty remarkable, and the help I've gotten. And one of the things that I feel very strongly about is mentoring other people. So I like to hope and think that through the years I've been able to help others that I've counted on people through my career.
Yeah, yeah. So that association, tell me, who are the members of that association? Give me some examples of that.
So our members are wholesale distributors involved in what is known as traditional two-step distribution, which is different than most of Europe. So in Europe, most of the product is brokered. In the U.S., for two-step distribution, my distributors buy from the manufacturers. It's self-owned inventory, and they will turn around and sell to the dealer who sells to the end user. So the two steps come in when they buy from the manufacturer and then they sell to the dealer. So they don't go direct to the consumer. One of the things that makes it work so well in the aftermarket is all the stuff. So our members are wholesale distributors, the manufacturer's reps, of everything but the boat and motor.
Okay.
Anything that goes in, on, or around the boat, but again, not the boats and not the motors. So it's all the stuff. So if you're a manufacturer and you're selling sacrificial zincs or stainless steel screws, for you to have to send to 1,000 or 1,500 dealers 6 of a number 2 screw, 7 of this, it's not worth your while. So that's why distribution in the aftermarket just makes all the sense in the world. A pick ticket for one of my distributors could be 120 lines, and it might fit in a small box.
Gotcha.
So it's definitely... it's an industry that works with distribution.
Yeah. So as you're talking there, you're talking about bits and pieces that many people listening may not even know what they are. When you first came into the industry, was that a huge learning curve for you, all these weird things that suddenly you had to learn about, or is it different to that?
My dad was in the military. He was in the Coast Guard. We moved a lot, and I sailed as a hobby. So boating... big boats from my dad's career as on ships, and then my joy in sailing, boats have always been a part of my life. So while I didn't know necessarily what a steering cable was or some of those other things, I did certainly understand that there was a lot of stuff that went in, on, and around the boat. So a funny story about not knowing about different things. I was helping out at a marina one weekend, and someone came in and they needed a steering cable. I knew what a steering cable was. I knew exactly where they were in the back room. I pulled a steering cable out. I handed it to him. I looked up the price. And these, we're talking microfiche, so this is a long time ago.
Wow.
Looked up the price, charged them. I didn't know steering cables came in lengths. I had no clue. So, of course, I did not pick the right one out, and they had to come back, and we made it right.
Yeah, they come in very different lengths.
Yeah, who knew? I just knew it was a steering cable. So when you talk about people not understanding what goes into things,
yeah.
I may know what some of the things are, but certainly not how they're used. So my folks, my distributors, it's things like electronics. It's the life safety equipment. It's the sacrificial zinc that goes on the back end of an outboard motor. It's all that sort of stuff. It's the cup holders. It's the stainless steel hooks. So it's all that sort of stuff.
And you as an association, what was your role for those members?
Probably my biggest role was to coordinate them and head them all in the right direction, in the same direction, maybe not the right direction, but the same direction. So they're predominantly privately held businesses. So in a lot of cases, some of the financial benchmarking we did, they don't have access to any other way because it's not publicly traded. There are publicly traded firms, of course, but majority are still privately held. We do a purchasing event every year called STEP, which originally stood for Sales, Training, Education, and Purchasing. And it's every July. It has been for years in the Chicago area out by the airport. So last year, between Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. and Thursday at 6 p.m., we had over 800 purchasing meetings.
Wow.
So it's a very efficient way to get a lot of work done. And in some cases, for the larger distributors, they're not actually writing orders there, but they're getting a lot of data so that they can go back and do the orders. We use a suite hotel, like an Embassy Suites or Sheraton Suites, and the manufacturers set up mini showrooms. They use the living room as a showroom, and then every 40 minutes, the doors open, and they go to their next appointment.
Oh, that's
The
cool.
buyers go from room to room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 33 or 34 years old. We've been doing this event.
Yeah, that's
So,
clever.
yeah, it works well.
Yeah, I like it. And have you seen a change in the membership over the years? Have the products changed dramatically? What's been the drive and the difference that you've seen over the years?
It's interesting listening this morning at the industry breakfast about the innovation and the new products and stuff. There are so many things that are the same, but there are so many products in the last 26 years that have been improved upon. Not too many that I know that have gone away, though. Like, I really can't think of anything that used to be stellar that now doesn't exist. There might be, I'm just not aware of any. But you look at the improvements they've made on fuel tanks. And some of that has to do with federal regulations, and some of it has to do with just being able to build a better fuel tank. There are so many electronics, obviously, are huge changes in what things were and what things are. My biggest worry probably for the industry is that we're going to price ourselves out of the market. When I first started, when I was with the State Trade Association, we owned a boat show, and it was a small boat show. It was a state boat show, but it was pretty. You could buy a boat, a motor, and a trailer for $9,999. Now, it was a bayliner. It was a starter boat, but you could basically put a credit card down and walk out with a boat. We can't do that now, and that's probably my biggest fear for the future of the industry is we're pricing ourselves out of the marketplace. A 13-foot whaler, which if you grow up on the water, that's 10, 12, that's probably what you're going to learn on because you can't destroy it. Now you can't afford that. It used to have a teak seat and a tiller. Now it's got a steering wheel and a padded seat and electronics, and so that's probably my biggest fear for the industry.
And do you think that will be fixed by going back to simpler boating, or do you think it will be fixed by the new ways of boating that are coming in, like the clubs and the syndications and the different ways of doing it?
I think the clubs and syndications, I think those are fascinating ideas. And with all of us with so many time constraints, I think it's a wonderful thing. It's been interesting watching that evolve and change because it has certainly since it originally started. I don't know if that's the be-all, end-all answer, but I do think that we just need to think about getting simpler in some of the things that we do. I understand prices have increased. I'm not naive when it comes to that, but to the extent that you can't really find that starter boat now, it worries me.
Fair enough. That's a good point. That's a really good point. Yeah. I thought that was interesting at the breakfast this morning. The gentleman from This Old House that spoke to us. I always think it's really nice to have somebody from outside the industry come in and look at us a bit and say, what's going on, guys? Because we do have our limitations in certain spaces, and perhaps we are a little behind some other industries in some ways. Car industry, for example, I think we're way behind. But do you think his concept of, and we're seeing a little bit of it now, that he was talking about a lot of the businesses are too small, that do you think there's a lot more amalgamation of companies happening, and do you think there's more of a future of that, which is going to be a necessity to allow it to be more cost effective?
So I look at it just even from the association's point of view. Consolidations are rampant in all segments, whether it's the manufacturers, the distributors, the manufacturers' reps, they are just consolidating like crazy. And I kind of look at it when the big guys keep buying the next big guys, it's a perfect opportunity for a new company to come in and start over. Because just because you're big doesn't mean you're the best. Sometimes it means you're adding time or delay or cost or something. And to me, that's the time when a new guy should come in and do a better job that the big guys aren't doing. Do I think it's the way of the future? I think it's going to be to some degree, but I hope that there's still always going to be someone who's willing to take the risk and to start a new company. Because this country, the United States, was built on small businesses. It was built on people having the courage to strike out and try something new or to try a different way than how things have always been done. And I think we need to keep that for so many reasons. But I think one of the biggest reasons is that's how we're going to grow. That's how we're going to keep the industry viable, is by new guys coming in with new ideas. So I thought his approach was interesting. What I preferred more than that was the whole idea of apprenticeships. And that's something that we've actually, as an industry, have been working with the federal government on, some of the apprenticeships, some of the grants that are available to people like the Pell Grants that were mentioned, trying to get some of the funding available to use for trade schools. I think that would be huge if we can get some of those things changed, that not basically mandate if you don't go to college, you're not a success.
I agree. Yeah, because we have lost that. It's interesting. There's a bit of a reset happening in Australia at the moment. Now that they've made higher education so expensive, a lot of young people are saying, do I want that debt hanging over my head before I even start my career? And are therefore looking at alternatives. I'm hoping that's going to reset us a bit to have some incredible trades come through, because I'm sure it's exactly the same in the US. We're facing a real problem in our industry of not enough young people coming into our industry, and certainly not in the trade space. And the small businesses of the shipwrights, the painters, the detailers, the mechanics, they're all suffering finding good people. Do you think that we have some hope there in that reset? Is that happening in the US as well, or is education still funded fundamentally by the government here?
No, it's not. I think it is happening here to some degree. I think it will continue to go for the exact same reason you said. There's a little more awareness on the fact that to go to a college in the U.S. could incur $200,000 in debt, and how long does it take you to get out of that? So I think there is certainly more of an awareness than there was. My biggest hope is that we, like I mentioned earlier, that we get past the if you don't go to college, you're not a success, because I think the Notre Dame story is the perfect, Notre Dame story is the perfect example of that. They brought craftspeople, they taught craftspeople. Now the next thing is, can they continue doing those sorts of jobs? I think there's a lot to be said to work with your hands, but Emily and I were talking earlier that we've both brought speakers into our boards to talk about apprentice programs and things like that. And then after the speakers left, we'd said to the board members, would any of you let your kids go to a trade school? No, they have to go to college.
Yeah.
So we're doing it to ourselves in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And not everyone should go to college.
No, because it doesn't suit everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it's, in fact, higher education for some people is really unpleasant. Why would you do it? Yeah, because they're only going to end up doing it if they're really not enjoying the degree they're doing. Why are they going to enjoy the career attached to it?
Probably not going to.
No. And there are some, you look at people working on our marinas at home. So we've got a beautiful marina at Bobbin Head, right? It's absolutely idyllic location in a national park. And the dock masters that work there, I look at them and think, wow, you've got the best job in the world. Because they're on the water, in the sunshine, doing practical stuff all day, solving problems all day, looking after clients all day, and it's a fantastic thing to do. And from there, they can only grow to amazing roles, managing that marina and so on and so forth. And I think that's just a fantastic job right in front of them. I don't think there's enough awareness that those positions appear. That's the issue.
So I think what we have to get across as an industry is that you can actually make a very good living and support a family working in a marina or a boatyard or something like that. I have a bit of a concern, though, with how the motors in particular have gotten so computerized. It's not a wrench-turning job anymore. It's diagnostic with a computer and that kind of stuff. So that's, again, that's a different level, but the people coming into the workplace now have grown up with them.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be as big a stretch as it would be for a lot of people.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're here at IBEX. You've probably been to this, how many years of your life?
Lots.
Yeah.
Lots.
What is IBEX for you? What is the highlight of IBEX for you?
For me, because I'm here to see my members, I don't get a lot of opportunity at our particular events because they're busy doing their jobs. So it's a chance for me to see the membership. It's also a chance for me to see what's new in the industry, which is always interesting. I always find new products here that then I'm intrigued to watch how it comes into the aftermarket. Is it going to? And I see distributors here, I see manufacturers here, I see manufacturers up. So I see a very large segment of my actual membership here. This show is the closest that we have in the U.S. to an accessory trade show. So it's not specifically that. It's a boat builder's exposition, but there's an awful lot of accessories that are shown here. Yeah. So for my guys, for my distributors, it's an opportunity for them to find new products as well. And with 120 innovation products this morning, that was crazy.
Yeah. Unbelievable. I also like the fact that they have the boats here with that technology on board.
Yes.
to demo it to you, which is it's a really nice combination. That's here our product, but if you want to go and see it in action, you just head out to one of these boats here, book your time to go out, and off you go. And so sensor parking or seakeepers or whatever it might be,
Right.
you can see it in action on the boat, which I think is actually a really important part of this show.
So a couple years ago, I can't tell the exact years, a couple years ago, they had some of the biofuels available. They had boats being run on those, which was fascinating because you heard about it, you read about it, but okay, how's it really going to ride? How's it going to perform? So that was kind of cool.
Very cool. Yeah. They worked all right, didn't they?
Absolutely.
They went really well, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they had them in DC at ABC as well. So that was to show some of the elected officials how the products can work.
Yeah, the more biofuels the drop-in fuels is the solution for boats, I think
so.
Personally. The sooner we get there, the better for environmental purposes. And the engine manufacturers seem okay with it. They're coming along for the ride. Yeah, so we should be okay with that soon. So we've got to grow it. Yeah. Tell me, how do you feel about handing over your 26-year role to somebody else? How are you doing that? Is it a long-term handover process? How is that happening?
Emily came on board full-time in June. And so we worked, she's in Ohio and I was in Tennessee at the time. So we did...
Just give our listeners an idea of the distance between those two.
7-hour drive.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was just easier to meet via Zoom. So we spent a lot of time going over how we've done things in the past. My goal was to guide. And I said to her, once October 1 comes, I don't have an opinion. Anything you do is your own. If you want advice, ask, but I'm not going to offer anything. So I'm pleased that for the last 7 days, I've been able to maintain that to be true. But she's an incredible woman who knows what to do. And when I told the board I was retiring, I said this to them. I said, growth only happens with change. And you need a change in order to grow. And so it's time for a change. And I think they've hired a remarkable woman to take over. It's interesting. She's the third person since 1964 to have the job. So obviously we've done a pretty good job so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we might have a chat with her now, do you think?
I think so.
Yeah. So, Emily Saving, welcome to the Boat Princess podcast.
Thank you.
So good to have you here.
It's good to be here.
So, how did you actually stepping into this role come about?
I have known Nancy, she might have said already, but I have known Nancy for probably 15 years going on, because those who work in trade associations, specifically distributor trade associations, tend to network together because we face a lot of similar challenges and opportunities. So there's strength in numbers. And she and I really got along quite well. I've always thought of her as more of a mentor figure to me. So we maintained a relationship through those 15 years. And I was working in a similar capacity with a different industry. And I left that industry, which was actually, I don't know if you've talked a lot about yet so far about skilled trades and about lack of gender diversity in skilled trades. But I was in heating and cooling, which is a very male-dominated industry. So I left that association in late 2021 to purchase a small business. So I wanted to do something different, was looking for a new challenge, felt like I had learned what there was to learn about heating and cooling. So I wanted to do something completely new. I bought a small service company in the dog industry, actually. So I spent...
okay, as you do.
as one does. You know, what's next? You've conquered heating and cooling. Might as well look to the world of canines. Yeah. So I have spent the last couple years just with my head quite down, learning that world and trying to turn around a struggling business in that world. And probably about a year ago, she and I were talking on the phone, as we had tended to do every couple of months. And she said, I get the sense that you're bored. And I was like, you're right. I've done what I needed to do here. There's no more challenge left here. And she said, I've got a challenge for you. She luckily opened a lot of doors for me, made a lot of warm connections, and I believe recommended me for the job. And here we are.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And what excites you most about coming into this role?
I am an avid lover of boats. I love to sit on a boat. And I think as the reigning princess, you might agree with me there.
Absolutely.
A princess in training?
Yes. Yes, I do call myself a passenger princess.
Oh, perfect. See? I love that. That's brilliant.
So love the concept of the industry, but know absolutely nothing about it other than it's such a joy. And Nancy speaks so highly about it. So I was drawn to the way she spoke about it and the opportunities that she presented as far as lifelong connections and really the opportunity to put my mark as the next executive director of the association.
Amazing. So how long is your sort of handover with Nancy? How long are you doing that for?
As long as she'll have me.
I was the Darlene Briggs Marine Woman of the Year last year, so I get to pass it on to the next one. And then I'm just a phone call away, and she knows it.
Until she blocks my number. Which
What's the Darling Briggs Women of the Year?
It is awarded by the MRAA, and Michelle Goldsmith is a winner.
Oh, okay, that one. Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
So, she was right before me, so I pass it on now.
Yes, I remember Michelle getting hers at Miami Boat Show. Was that the award she got
No,
at Miami
it's
Boat
at
Show?
Dealer Week. She got a different one. She gets a lot.
She
gets a lot.
Very
of awards.
decorated, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
quite rightly.
Exactly.
Yeah. For those of you listening, Michelle Goldsmith has also been on this podcast. You should check out her episode. She is an incredible, inspirational woman that we all need to listen to. Get into that episode. Yeah, that was another award that Michelle got. I love it. So you're handing over now. You're about to be out there on your own. How's that feel?
Honestly, a little intimidating. Mostly exciting with a tinge of intimidation, I think, just because she's been in this industry forever. She knows everybody. It feels like she knows everything. She'd probably argue that point, but it feels like I'm coming in at quite a deficit. So I have a lot of ground to cover, which is why it's great to be here at IBEX and get my learning underway, I think.
Yeah.
But as I've said to both Emily and the board, what she's going to do is she's going to take it to the next step.
Yeah.
She's going to be able to modernize things that there was pushback if I recommended because what we had worked.
Yes.
So new coming in, she's going to be able to say, let's try this.
Yeah.
And they'll give her that grace.
Yeah.
I will definitely be seeking more forgiveness than permissions. Isn't that how the saying goes?
That was my recommendation. Just do it and then say, oops.
Oops. By the way,
that wasn't how you did it before?
by the way, I did this. Oh, you didn't do it that efficiently. Okay. So that's cool.
Yeah.
What do you have any particular initiatives you can share with us that you're thinking of bringing in?
I think that the highlight of the year is going to be figuring out how to add value to the distributors in the channel. They are the workhorses of the channel. They're doing a lot, and we want to make sure that our organization is supporting them first and foremost. We want all the product that's possible to be flowing through distributors. We want the aftermarket suppliers to understand that this is the best option to get the channel out there or to get product out into the marketplace is through distributors. So it's not a sexy goal, but it will touch a lot of lives if we can even impact by a couple percentage points what's going through distributors. That means jobs, that means higher standard of living, and that means a more thriving industry.
Okay. And what does a day for Emily look like?
I live in chaos. I have 2 burgeoning teenagers at home, 2 dogs at home, and a husband who's also at home.
So you have 2 people that don't talk to you.
Yes.
And yeah, okay.
If I'm lucky, on any given day, one of the people in my household will talk to me. And it's probably the dogs.
Yep, been there.
Yeah. So as far as work-wise, right now it is a lot of just making connections. I have a lot of questions for people, and so I have to be very choosy about who I'm talking to so they don't get tired of answering my questions. So it's a lot of picking up the phone and just pleading my ignorance and relying on my charms to get people to answer my questions right now. And I really need to ask, what are your pain points? What can we help you with? And just do a lot of listening.
That's great.
Yeah.
But that's what members need.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of
Yeah.
advocacy.
And that's part of the reason that we're here, is so she can get more contacts so that she can broaden who she's asking all the questions of.
Yeah. Yeah. Because IBEX is amazing for networking. So it's good to see everybody and catch up and introduce face-to-face, because a lot of face-to-face has been lost. I think IBEX and those sorts of events are really important for bringing that back, and because the relationships are so much stronger if you know somebody and you've seen them face-to-face.
So to industry veterans, what's your advice for me as I go through this show?
Wow, there's a question. I like that. Yeah, go on.
So I would say it's the face-to-face. It's making the contacts. It's taking the business cards, which might be old-fashioned in some ways, but I always take the cards, I write notes on them, and then I always follow up with either a phone call or an email. But I think it's very important to have not just an email relationship, but a phone relationship if it can't be an in-person relationship, because that is, to your point, that's how you grow and it's how you build things. I personally think, but part of that's my age, where that's just how I grew up. You did the face-to-face.
And I would say link in with them immediately, but do a little message in the back so that you realize where you met them, because otherwise there's so many people that you link in.
Right.
And then you go, oh, where did I meet them? Okay, all right. Yeah, oh, that's right. I've done a little message. It says, great to meet you at IBEX 2025. And then your brain will reconnect with the conversation that you had or where you saw them at IBEX and all those sorts of things. And it's much easier to reconnect next time you talk to them. And you might even mention in that message something you talked about, whether it's they were just getting married or some little detail, so that when you start the conversation with them again, you've got that commonality to instantly draw on to actually have a really heartfelt conversation rather than a sort of membership orientated one, as it were. Does that make sense?
No, it makes a lot of sense. It's really good advice. And I am comfortable on the phone, so I like your advice about calling on the phone. And of course, I think a lot of people will appreciate a LinkedIn in mail too, because they can then receive it and respond in their own time. So to tell you a funny story about my 13-year-old who we have said in a moment of craziness, we have said she could get a hedgehog. So she's been doing right. Why not? Why not? So we've been letting her research hedgehogs. Part of her research was, okay, you have to find a vet. Now, a hedgehog is an exotic animal, so you can't take it to any vet. You have to take it to an exotic animal vet. So this poor little 13-year-old had to look up veterinarians' offices and then call these offices to see if they treated hedgehogs. And ladies, let me tell you, she had an entire whiteboard full of, okay, I'm going to say this. And then if they say this, then I'm going to say this. It took me a half hour of coaching with her before she would be willing to dial that phone the first time. She was petrified.
It is an interesting thing. It's because they don't communicate like that.
No, it was clearly, very clearly, shame on me. It was very clearly the first time she's ever needed to pick up the phone and initiate contact with a stranger over the phone.
Yeah. Yeah, they text, they email, but do they pick up the phone? Rare event. I've noticed even when they're walking to school, whereas when I was a young girl, we'd walk to school in a group of 2 or 3 and we'd chat the whole way to school and the whole way home from school. They don't. They're walking individually with their phones in front of them and they're getting to school. So it's a whole different mindset for them, isn't it? To
absolutely.
make a phone call.
Oh, yeah. It absolutely was clearly very much out of her comfort zone. Now I know what to make her do next week.
Yeah.
We're going to have to figure out a way to feed this hedgehog, and that might involve the phone.
Yeah. So. That's great. I love it.
Did you get the hedgehog yet?
Not yet.
She's still trying to find the vet.
Yeah, that's right. First comes the vet.
Yeah.
Then comes the hedgehog.
Exactly right. So, Emily, this is boating industry is different. You said you've worked in a male-dominated industry in the past, and boating is less so than when I came into it 20 years ago, when I stood in that famous conference and there were 400 men and 10 women in the corner. But what do you think you would say to young women coming into this industry? Was there any particular advice you would give them or something you would say?
I think one of the things women need to hear, whether it's the marine industry or any male-dominated industry, is that you need to walk into any room with your shoulders squared and your head held high and make sure that your confidence is the first thing that enters the room. Because I think, and I might have said this last night, I think women do have a tendency, maybe genetically programmed to make ourselves feel smaller and make other people feel bigger. And I think that you have to earn the respect, but I think you need to start off by showing, even in your nonverbals, that you're someone that should be respected and that deserves a seat at the table. So that begins from the presence you have when you enter a space. And I think that we need to learn to take up more space.
That is an outstanding answer. That's brilliant. Thank you so much.
Off the top of my head, too.
Yeah, so good.
That's where the mentorship comes in as being so important. because for you to be able to say that to a young lady is, I think, vital, because you can read it somewhere, but to have someone watch you do exactly that, I think makes it work.
It's interesting. I was sitting at in the presentation at the breakfast this morning, he talked about how young men are now having problems with not graduating as well, not doing a whole bunch of stuff. And some of the women in the room may be sitting there saying, oh, yeah, sure, whatever. But it's interesting, when you're a podcaster, you suddenly become an extremely good listener. So I was sitting at breakfast yesterday, and there was, in the hotel, and there was a older gentleman and a younger gentleman sitting and having a conversation. The older gentleman spoke over the younger gentleman so many times. I thought, no, they're going to think I'm a mad woman of a certain age. I almost got up and said, listen, stop talking over him. Because as women, we can turn around and say, listen, stop talking over me. But as a young man, that's hard, right? It's interesting. Some of it, I think, is turning around. We've been given a lot of strength and a lot of encouragement to do what we now do and all that sort of thing. And some young men are floundering a bit because they're not. They're almost told you've got to do this and you've got to do that. And I think it's hard. Yeah. So it's an interesting space we're in now, I think. But that was sensational advice, Emily.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I resonated with what the speaker said this morning, too, because I'm a mother. I have daughters, but I have nephews. I have a brother, and all the young people in the world. I thought that was a really staggering set of statistics he showed this morning about how men are struggling in certain areas young men are struggling in certain areas of society right now. And it's if men don't thrive, culture doesn't thrive, society doesn't thrive. It's the same for women as well, of course, but we need to be equally uplifting. And I really like your point about noticing in action a practice of a younger man maybe not having the tools in his tool belt to speak up for himself or assert himself in a conversation, and your counterpoint that maybe women have been coached to do so because of our historical lack of advantage there.
Yeah. And if it was somebody in my firm or my company, I would have immediately got up and said, stop talking over him. But I wonder if in a public place, we need to, I don't know, it's a really hard thing to know whether to step in or not, because you don't know the young guy, and the young guy may be really offended that you then step in and make him look. So it's really tough. Yeah. The things we think about.
Over breakfast at the hotel.
Well, Emily, thank you so much for joining us on this podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I wish you every success in this.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. Emily Saving is the new Executive Director of NMDA. How can anybody contact you, Emily?
You can look at our website, which is nmdaonline.com, or you can contact us via email, and I am at es@nmda.com, online.com, nmdaonline.com.
Cool. Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I wish you an amazing retirement, Nancy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Are you going to do a lot of boating?
More like cruising, probably, than boating.
Well, that's boating. It is boating. It's on the water.
I've got a couple river cruises already scheduled, so yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Where are you going? Where are you going?
Christmas markets this year, and then 30 days next July doing the 4 main rivers in Europe.
Ah, amazing.
Just a little boat trip.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
enjoy every moment,
thank you.
darling. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
guys,
you for your time.
No, thank you. And we shall see you on the water soon. Hi, everyone. Thought I'd just jump in here and say thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I really appreciate you doing so. Please share it with your friends, tell people about it, and give us a review. We'd really appreciate a review. We'd like to know what you'd like to hear about as well. You can connect with us on LinkedIn, Nikki Vo, the Boat Princess, and Instagram at the Boat Princess. If you'd like to get involved in some of our events, then contact us at info@theboatprincess.com or simply sign up for our newsletter at theboatprincess.com. You take care. We'll see you on the water soon. It's lovely to have you here. We appreciate you. The Boat Princess podcast is hosted by Nikki Vo, produced by the Boat Princess Media, and available anywhere you get your podcast.